Alright, before I get into the Aaron Rodgers situation, I'm going to go through the rest. Chris Boswell has a concussion. He's expected to be fine for Monday night. Joe Judge blames the headsets. That's the reason why they didn't win. I don't agree with that. I think Joe Judge is just trying to figure out more and more excuses to why I can't win a game when we play pretty well on defense and then offense we can't do anything. I don't blame that on the headsets. I blame that on the coach for not knowing what he's supposed to do in the situation. ESPN continues to try and blame Dak's calf injury with his ankle. This never made any sense at all, by the way. ESPN's trying to correlate the same thing. If you listen to the interview what Dak said during the press conference when he was on the field, he said, if this was a year ago, before my ankle injury, I would have gone back. It would have been my choice. I would have gone. I would have said, let's go. But after the ankle injury, my mental state has changed in terms of how I'm going to deal with it. So I was comfortable with missing the game against the Vikings. Now we will talk about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys more in depth in a future video, but that's his mental state. ESPN took that to a whole new level of saying he's blaming the injury on his ankle injury last year. No, he's not. He's not. This is what happens when networks try to get involved. They keep ruining everything because they keep trying to make more news than there really is. Dak did not say that. He said, my mental state has changed because of the ankle injury I had before. I have to be careful and actually trust what the doctors are saying and not going on my own. Phillip Rivers will listen to the New Orleans Saints if they call about a return. And this makes a lot of sense. This is a good team. They have a really good roster. A great defense. There is a little concern at the wide receiver position, but they're a really good team. If they would call him, I guarantee you he would listen. And that's what he said in this interview. That he would listen. It makes a lot of sense. The Chiefs traded, and I hope I pronounced his name right, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif to the Jets for tight end Daniel Brown. This is a very strange trade, okay? Because your offensive line, if you're the Chiefs, the offensive line on your team is terrible. Yet, you're trading away probably one of the two good players on that offensive line. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. However, I will say this. They said that about the Herschel Walker trade when the Cowboys traded Herschel Walker to the Vikings and it created a dynasty. I'm not sure that the Duvernay-Tardif trade is going to do that by any means. No one could be. But it could happen. But you could also be on the wrong side of it too. The Rams decided, as we said, they waived Desean Jackson. Desean Jackson was not happy with being on the Rams. And here's the difference between the Rams situation with Desean Jackson and the Odell Beckham situation with the Browns. Odell was not getting the ball a lot. And when you're a guy who's trying to get paid and you're not getting the ball, it's not going to work. When he went to the Browns, I'm like, this isn't going to work. They run the ball. They're not a passing-oriented team. And when they are, it's hard to get the force-feed a guy the ball, and that's what they were trying to do. And he was dropping some passes. I will admit that. But I still think there's a lot of good football left in him. I just think they need to get him on a team that actually uses his skill set to their advantage. But the difference between the Desean Jackson trade, the Desean Jackson release was Desean did not want to be the fourth or fifth guy as the wide receiver. He wanted to be the first wide receiver on a bad team, instead of being the fourth or fifth wide receiver on a good team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl. The 49ers decided they were going to waive kicker Joey Slye. Joey Slye hasn't done great at all, actually. He's been pretty bad. They get Robbie Gould back. I like to say Robbie Gould. It's really Robbie Gould. I apologize. I can't help myself sometimes. But Joey Slye did not do well. It's not surprising. It just happens sometimes. In the kicking and punting position, it's really what's between the ears. So, it's very difficult to be good. It's very difficult to be good for long stretches. And once you miss one, you're worried about, will I miss another? Will I miss another? Sometimes you just can't think of that. The Broncos placed tight end Noah Fant on the COVID-19 list. And the Broncos had also traded a second-round selection. A second-round Kerry Vincent Jr., the rookie. They traded him to the Eagles for a 2022 sixth-round pick. As I said before, the Cowboys had cut Bradley and they ended up signing him on the practice squad. Michael Thomas is out for the year, as I said before, with now a new ankle injury that he has to get surgery on again. Alright, so I'm going to talk about this Aaron Rodgers situation. I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can and as quickly as I can, because there's a lot to unpack here. First off, if you want to know Aaron's side of the story before you look at all the network stuff, he did an interview on the Pat McAfee show. I suggest you go watch it. This is the news basically from his side. I understand both sides. First off, Jay Glazer said this first. Yesterday morning, he said, Aaron Rodgers is not getting traded. He's not getting traded. The league's not looking to get rid of picks, which is what NBC tried to say. No. Picks and suspension are not on the table. If anything, it's fines. But the league asked for tapes of the stadium and of the clubhouse and of every place in that stadium, but that's pretty much it. Aaron's been in his house since he got it on Wednesday. So, that's that part. The next part is like about 2 to 3 sections of this. The next part is, if you listen to the interview, Rodgers says, I could not have 2 of the shots because I'm allergic to an element of those shots. So the one shot I could have, by that point, it was taken off the market, so I couldn't have it anymore. And it's not back here, so I chose to immunize instead of just not going vaccinated at all, which was a multi-step process that doctors and scientists have done for decades. He also explained that there was a lot that we don't know about the shots, but he basically stayed away from that side of the pool, I guess you could say. So he then goes and explains how he could not have the shot, so he chose the immunization. And then he goes and says, well, everyone knew I was unvaccinated, according to the league. I even petitioned the league to count it, and they didn't. So I appealed during the preseason. One of the doctors said that you can't have COVID if you have the shot, which makes no sense. So they then went, and he said he's immunized. He did not go and say, yes, I am vaccinated, or no, I'm not vaccinated. He said I'm immunized, and they just went along. He said that in a press conference, and they went along. That happened like 2 months ago. Don't know why no one talked about it then. They only talked about it now. Makes no sense. So they said now, this third part, which that kind of last part leans into this part, this section. Everyone tried to say, well, Aaron lied, Aaron's selfish. he's this, he's that. First off, he did not lie. He said what he was. He never said he was vaccinated. He never said he wasn't. He said he was immunized. That's all he said. You guys went on your business. You didn't say anything after that. So he did not lie. He's not selfish because he told the whole team what he was doing. He took all the precautions that the league has told him to take. He's worn a mask. He's done this. He's tested every day, sometimes multiple times a day. There's a weird flaw, though, in the books that says if you have COVID, then next you don't have to get tested again for another 90 days, which would be the NFC Championship game, which makes no sense at all. But that's neither here nor there. He did everything you asked of him. Got checked every day. Wasn't able to really do anything. And he said, okay. But now, he said, look, this was my choice. Which he does have a choice. Is it disappointing? Yes. But it is his choice, and we have to abide that. It's not saying, oh, he's not smart. It's his body. He's going to be able to do what he wants to do. We just got to leave it there. If it's your body, you choose what you want to do. If you want to get vaccinated, sure. If you don't, okay. It's not a big deal. Just figure out what's best to suit you.